In this video, I'm going to explore the phrase, I have made servants or slaves. So think about the people who have been called slaves or said, for instance, Moshe. But not only that, the real slave, the servant, I would recommend to anybody who's interested. I'll probably do a video on this as well, but the Eved, it's not like the slave that we know today or think of today. It would have been a live-in servant who has to pay back a debt or a crime and work for 7 years, although he is treated extremely well, and then he's able to go free if he likes. But he also has to pick up certain of the Jewish mitzvahs. And then after his 7 years, he can choose to go free, but some have it so good that they choose not to, and they choose to stay. But anyway, here we have, I have made servants or slaves. So I have made. And here it is in Ecclesiastes 2, verse 7. It's the only time it shows up in the text. One time. So I have made servants. And then we see even in this verse, Kenite. And here you can see the kuf nun combination again. I have made. So here are the other times that it shows up. The first time it shows up, interestingly enough, is the birth of Cain. So we have the kuf nun yud combo. Here's Cain. And it is Genesis chapter 4 where Eve is saying, I have made a man with Hashem, with the Lord. I have made a man with the Lord, the birth of Cain. So the first time it shows up is in that verse. And then in 47:23 of Genesis, and then we see it's not used again until Ruth, and it's I believe 3 more times in Ruth. That word even looks like the word for cainite a little bit. So I have made slaves or servants. Now let's see let's have a look at some interesting matches that just happen to explain the Kenites and even the Eved Kanani and the Rechabites. So here we have, I have made servants or slaves, and the same match twice in different chapters of Vayikra or Leviticus. Hagar, and then the ger among you, that dwells among you. The ger that dwells among you. So here you see Hagar and the ger who dwells among you. So let's have a look. The ger is nowadays that word means like a convert, and it can mean a convert in those times, but it also can be just a 7 laws following non-Jew who obeys the noahide code, is a monotheist, a friend of Israel. But he doesn't necessarily have to take on all of the 613 at that time. So this would have perfectly described the Cainites, Rechabites, and even the Eved Kanani who would be moving in, like we said, takes on some of the 613. He takes on the laws of a Jewish woman. So he's the closest thing to a full convert that there is. So this term here would have perfectly described them. And we'll see that many times the Rechabites and Cainite terms come up with these types of results. I'll show you one more in this video. There is for sure, as I'll show throughout, a connection between the Kenites, Rechabites, and the gerim, so the ger. And this is backed up in the oral and written and in Gematria. So here's our verse. Here's one verse where it shows up, 1629. And all this shall be as an eternal statute for you. In the 7th month, on the 10th of the month, you shall afflict yourselves, and you shall not do any work, neither the native nor the stranger who dwells among you. So that's this term right here. The stranger, the ger, who dwells among you. So Abraham, this term ger has been used for Abraham, Moses, and others. And then we have the same term, I have made servants or slaves. And what is the connection between this match and the cainites? So here's the same thing. And it is a match for Eleazar ben Aaron the Cohen. And here it is again, same match in a different place. Eleazar ben Aaron the Cohen, what is the connection between the cainites and Eleazar? Eleazar, the son of Aaron, took himself one of the daughters of Putiel to himself as a wife, and she bore him Phineas. These are the heads of the fathers' houses of the Levites according to their families. The daughters of Putiel are the daughters of Jethro. So Zipporah's sisters, or it could even be Zipporah's, it could be referring to further down the line even. So this could actually be, one of the daughters of Putiel could be one of his granddaughters. So Eleazar, the son of Cohen, or Aaron, took himself one of the daughters of Putiel to himself as a wife, and she bore him Phineas. So there's your connection to the Cainites and the match which we saw above, Eleazar, the son of Aaron. Because he took one of Jethro's daughters or granddaughters to himself as a wife. It's an interesting coincidence there. And then we see the last video was about this phrase, the children of the house of the Rechabites. And we see that that term is a match for Hagar, and then we see Israel. So children of the house of the Rechabites has the same value as the stranger among Israel, which describes them perfectly. It's a perfect description. And then we see the same thing again later on in Leviticus 22:18. The ger, or stranger among Israel. Very interesting how these things just happen to line up perfectly. So this is an introduction to the idea that all these terms are related, the Cainites and Rechabites, and even the Eved, in a sense, or this word I have made, which we saw is connected to Cain. I have made, which is what Eve says when she gives birth to Cain. And here is your connection. So all these things are related. Non-Jews hanging out in the camp with Israel, even being influential, as we saw with Jethro earlier, throughout biblical times. And we'll have more on this in later videos. If you'd like to learn, or if you have any questions, or would like to email me, or comments or criticisms, you can leave a comment, or you can email me at JethroAndTheKenites@gmail.com. Thank you.